So good day, dear professor. Today we are going to present you our presentation, and the topic of our presentation is ecological problems of water resources of Kazakhstan. First of all, we will introduce you three cases, which is Aral Sea, Balkhash Lake, and Caspian Sea. And then we will talk about the problems, solutions, and conclusion. So overall, we know that Central Asia is one of the regions with the higher probability of conflicts over water, and Kazakhstan is the main Central Asian economic power, and therefore it is important to understand how the country's water management policy is influencing water availability in the other Central Asian states. Already the Central Asia economies are developing under increasing water deficiency, resulting in development problems. The main reasons for this are increasing political tensions and worsening ecological and socio-economic conditions, and Kazakhstan was the first country in Central Asia to develop the prerequisites for transition towards integrated water resources management. Therefore, Kazakhstan has potential to lead the development of transboundary water integration between all Central Asian states. A scenario for successful regional cooperation on water management in Central Asia involves establishing legal mechanism for water management following international water law, assisted by international agencies and donors, and integrated social, economic, and development methodology. So Kazakhstan is the largest country in Central Asia, but in terms of water resources, it is in the most difficult situation. At that time, there would be enough water in the republic for irrigation of 10 million hectares. In fact, it went to 50-60 million. As a result, there is a catastrophic situation with some natural water bodies. And according to the Kazakhstani news portal, barbaric use of rivers for the irrigation of cotton fields in Soviet times, and not only in the country itself, but also in the neighboring republics, from where rivers flow. Environmentalists of Ministry of Environmental Protection in the latest issue of the Departmental Bulletin noted that from the 69 rivers of Kazakhstan, only 9 are recognized as clean. So then my partner will continue, Aida, about the Aral Sea.
One of the main ecological problems of water resources of Kazakhstan is Aral Sea, because the Aral Sea has been shrinking since the 1960s after the rivers that fed it were diverted by Soviet irrigation projects. By 1997, it had declined to 10% of its origin size, splitting into 4 lakes. The shrinking of the Aral Sea has been called one of the planet's worst environmental disasters. The region's once prosperous fishing industry has been decimated, bringing unemployment and economic hardship. So the Aral Sea, which belonged to Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan, was one of the largest continental waters in the world. But now there are several problems exist for today. First one is the Aral Sea has died as an ecosystem and continues to shrink in size. Second is hundreds of lakes disappeared in the deltas of both rivers, but hundreds of artificial reservoirs appeared in the upper reaches of both rivers. Almost all species of fish that inhabited both rivers died. This is more than 40 species. Next one problem is that the fauna and flora in the entire Aral Sea basin has been significantly reduced. And another problem is that seemingly unrelated to the Aral Sea is a discharge of drainage water to the Amur Darya and Sir Darya. According to the official data, only in Amur Darya up to 10 cubic kilometers of highly mineralized, polluted and drainage water. There are probable solutions for Aral Sea, different solutions that are suggested over the years. First one is that improving the quality of irrigation canals, then using alternative cotton species that require less water, promoting non-agricultural economic development in upstream countries, using fewer chemicals on the cotton, cultivating crops other than cotton, redirecting water from the Volga, Ob and Irtysh rivers to restore the Aral Sea to its former size in 20-30 years. However, its cost will be from 30 to 50 billions dollars. And another solution that is suggested by scientists is pumping seawater into the Aral Sea from the Caspian Sea via a pipeline and diluting it with fresh water from local catchment areas.
Lake Balkhash is Kazakhstan's second most important natural inland water reservoir, whose catchment basin is shared between the Republic of Kazakhstan 60% and the People's Republic of China 40%. This lake is a source of fishery production and it serves as a means of transport, while the water of the catchment basin is extensively used by hydropower production and irrigated agriculture and industry located in the Balkhash Lake basin. These socioeconomic activities, together with climate variability, have strongly affected the lake's hydrological regime during the last 100 years. Increased water use in both Kazakhstan and China has reduced inflows to Lake Balkhash. The lake is mainly fed by the Ili River that originates in China's Xinjiang region, but attempts to reach an agreement on water use between the two countries have so far failed. Xinjiang's growing population has increased its demand for water for industry and irrigation, raising concerns that the supply of water to Lake Balkhash could be drastically reduced. This would affect not only the population around the lake, but the entire Ili-Balkhash river basin, where around 1/5 of Kazakhstan population lives. In addition to declining water levels, the lake is threatened by industrial and agricultural pollution. The town of Balkhash is home to a copper smelter, which environmentally pollutes the water and surrounding areas. Most emissions are due to mining and metallurgical processes, mostly at the Balkhash mining and metallurgy plant operated by Kazakhmans. In the early 1990s, emission level was 280,000 tons per year, depositing 76 tons of copper, 68 tons of zinc, and 66 tons of lead on the surface of the lake. Since then, emission almost doubled. Contaminants are also brought from the dump sites by the dust storms. In 2000, a major conference, Balkhash 2000, brought together environmental scientists from different countries, as well as representatives of business and government. The conference adopted a resolution and appealed to the government of Kazakhstan and international organizations suggesting new ways of managing the ecosystems of Alakol and Balkhash basins. At the 2005 International Environmental Forum devoted to Lake Balkhash, Kazakhmys announced that by 2006 it will restructure its processes, thereby reducing emissions by 80 and 90%. Contamination of Balkhash originates not only locally, but is also brought by inflow of polluted water from China. China also consumes 14.5 km³ of water per year from Ili River, with the plant increased by 3.6 times. The current rate of the increase is 4 km³. In 2007, Kazakhstan government proposed a price reduction for sales of Kazakh products to China in exchange for reduction of water consumption from Ili River, but the offer was declined by China.
Caspian Sea is the largest enclosed body of water on Earth. Since the collapse of Soviet Union in 1991 and discovering large oil and gas fields, some issues such as political, economic and environmental events made the Caspian Sea important. The ecology of the sea is being endangered due to several issues such as petroleum extraction, river and sea pollution, water level rise, biological damages, decline of Caspian seals, and the lack of legal regime among their neighbors. Tremendous infrastructures have had serious impacts on the ecosystem around the Caspian Sea and have often imposed long-term damages to the sea. Activities around the Caspian Sea endanger the balance of this very sensitive and fragile ecosystem. Large oil stains on the sea level and thousands of acres of soil contaminated by oil leaking from abandoned wells are some parts of the pollutions. In addition, there are various pollution-related industries, especially chemical and mineral industries, large non-irrigated agricultural and also domestic wastes. These impurities, in addition to the negative impact of oil, have serious effects on human welfare and wildlife of the area. ecological balance of the Caspian Sea is nearly going to be ruined. The increase of pollutions in the area has made many problems. The negative effects of shipping activities, oil and gas extraction, and oil transportation through the sea have always been problematic. Destruction of flora and fauna are the consequences of pollution. Overfishing is also a large threat on the equilibrium of the sea. The Caspian Sea is a major fishery reservoir where 90% of the world's sturgeon stocks were produced annually. Extensive spawning places in the rivers flowing into the area, the high food provision have contributed to the largest world sturgeon concentration in the Caspian Sea. There are around 50 other fish species in the river delta and coastal parts of the Caspian Sea. However, the last year contamination of the Ural River and the Caspian Sea by increased petroleum and industrial wastes resulted in an increase of natural spawning places. Combined with the large fisheries and continuous growth of mass poaching, this causes a critical fishery situation in the Ural-Caspian basin. Finally, exploitation of the Caspian Sea oil and gas provide the new challenges about the ecosystem of environment. The natural resources of environment are the source of potential wealth, which put the ecosystem under the risk.
To sum up our presentation, today we have talked about water resources in Kazakhstan, namely Aral Sea, Balkhash Sea, and Caspian Sea have been presented to the audience. Possible solutions have been introduced. Kazakhstan is the largest country in Central Asia with least water resources in the region. Mismanagement for decades has brought catastrophic consequences. Although it is possible to shift our use for more environment-friendly way in Caspian and in Balkhash Sea. Taking into account small economy of Central Asian countries, saving Aral Sea is a bit problematic because of huge costs ranging between $30 and $50 billion. Thank you for your attention.